Good morning or good evening, whichever time you're joining us today for your little session on the mat. Today we're going to start on our hands and knees. So making sure the hands are underneath the shoulders and the knees are underneath your hips. Most people aren't quite sure and take the knees back too far, which changes your balance perspective. So to really try and keep that 90-degree angle. If you're not sure, get a mirror and just check, or ask your partner to check for you. We're just going to tuck underneath and go into a cat stretch. Let the head drop and then push the tailbone back, draw the shoulders away. And again, rolling through the spine. And allow the front of the feet to rest on the floor. And allow your shoulders just to relax and soften as we try and create space between the vertebrae, getting the correct timing of the spine, working through. And then come back to halfway between those two tilts, so we're in a neutral pelvic position. The hip bones are facing down towards the floor. We're going to take one arm out in front and the opposite leg away, float them off the floor. Now we're going to sweep down and touch the knee and then take it back. And again, sweeping down and taking it back. So try not to lean to that opposite knee, stay centred, and that hip is not hiking, so we're not rolling through the spine. We're going 5 repetitions, reaching through the fingertips each time to really work deep into the shoulder, and then changing sides. Float them off the floor at the same time, getting your balance, slowly come back in, and releasing. Lengthen long from your hip bone. Just lightly touching the knee. The knee stays off the floor if you can, and slide your shoulders down your back. 2 more. Last one. And then come back to centre, come down onto the elbows. Take the legs long away from you and come to a half plank position. Now if you can hold it in a full plank position, tuck your toes underneath you and come into a full plank position. So I'm going to demo from the half plank position. Just going to drop the hips from side to side. I'm going to do 5 on each side. Drop the shoulders back. Working the obliques again. Last one. And then roll over onto your side so you're on your elbow, the feet and the knees are stacked. Take the hand up towards the ceiling. So if you're in a full plank position, you'll now be with straight legs. If that's too much for you, bend the knees and allow the feet to rest on the floor. So we're holding it in this short plank, this side plank position. Just think about that lower leg. Let the inner thigh lift, and that will lift your hips. Now we're going to make it a bit trickier. Float the top leg. Woohoo! Watch your shoulders aren't drifting up. Slide them down, abs are strong. If that's too much for you, drop that knee. So if you're in a straight leg position, that leg's going to be out here in a star position. And come back down. Come back onto those elbows again. In that full plank position, you're here. Half plank, you're on your knees. Drop from side to side with the hips. 5 on each side. And then roll yourself over. So you would have rolled yourself over to the side. I'm going to come over here so you can see what I'm doing. Onto your side plank position. Lifting the hips, lifting that inner thigh of that bottom leg. Shoulder is down, but the elbow is right underneath your shoulder. And then let's lift that top leg. So again, straighten the leg if you want to, or if you're in that straight leg position, you are here with that top leg on top, lifting. And then come back down. That's quite hard work. You'll really feel it here in your obliques and in the opposite oblique, which is my weaker side. So if you're finding that that's too much for you, stay in that half plank position with the knees bent and then lift your knee. Okay? Much easier. We've got a shorter lever, that's why it's much easier on the obliques, but still hard work. Roll over onto your back. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Just rock from side to side. Hug one knee in. Lift the head and shoulders, straighten the other leg away from you. Now if any time the neck aches, let it come back down to the floor. Drop the tailbone, breathe in, switch legs, exhale, switch legs. And again. This is your one leg stretch. One more on each side. And then we're going to go into the double leg stretch. Legs together, reach away, sweep down, come back in. And again, breathe in and exhale. And breathe in and exhale. Two more. And breathe in and breathe out. Last one. Hands to the head. I'm going to go to the crisscross. Now either keep your feet here or take the opposite shoulder to bring the knee in towards you, straighten the other leg away from you and switch. So you can do 5 on each side. That's 2, 3, drop the tailbone, 4, last one, 5, come back in, rest for a moment. Bring the feet back down to the floor. Roll yourself up into a shoulder bridge. Okay, so we're lengthening. You can see from my knee to my hip to my shoulder, one long line. The feet in a little bit closer so they're underneath the knees. Hands reach down towards your feet, pick up one foot and then pick up the other. Now if that's too much for you, just pick up the heel. 3 on each side. One more. And then roll yourself back down as you breathe out through the spine. Reach along with the sit bone so the spine stays long. And then off you go again. Keep the neck long so you're not looking behind you, you're looking beyond the knees. And then here we go again. Drop the shoulders back. 3. And again, just the heel lift if that's fine. If you find that your hips are dropping, we're using the glutes to go into hip extension. Drop the ribs down and slowly come back down. We're going to do one more and roll through. Watch those ribs are lower than your hips, so you're not using the back to arch yourself, but you're using your glutes to lift the hips. Now arching of the spine, suck those shoulders back and then roll yourself down. Bring the feet and the knees together, drop them to one side, look in the other direction and then change sides. And again, coming over and the other side. This time roll over, take your hands with you. Coming over onto your side, going onto your hand, bend the knees, pick up the feet, and lift that top knee to the oyster. Hold for 10 seconds, and then release, and lift. Drop the shoulders, watch that hip isn't rolling back, and release, and lift. And release, and lift. And release and lift. And we do 5 singles, so come back down, lift for 1, come back down, lift for 2, come back down, lift for 3, come back down, lift for 4, and come back down, lift for 5, and release. Rolling back onto your back, picking up the feet again, one at a time, bring them together, suck the shoulders back into the mat, exhale as you start to pick up the tailbone off the floor, and the knees come towards your shoulders. Going into reverse curl. Don't worry how far back you go. If you can't go back very far, you go as far back as you can take it. There's 5. Bring the feet back down. Roll the knees over towards the other side, and we'll do the oyster on the other side. So I'll come up and turn around, picking up the feet. Watch that hip. Keeps turning forward slightly and lift the knee. So really focus on working the glutes on the side of the body, glute medius. And then release and lift, dropping the shoulders down. Soften the rib cage so you're not arching the back. And release and lift. This is 3. And release and lift. Going into number 4. And release, going into 5. And release. 5 singles, you ready? Lift. 2, 3, 4, last one, 5. And release, rolling onto your back again. And we're taking to the reverse curl again, but we're taking it a little bit further. So when you go into the reverse curl, if it's as far as you can go, you stay with those. If you can take it further, roll the feet all the way overhead. Try and lift out of your rib cage so you're not sinking into the ribs. Flex the feet as if you're trying to push the wall away behind your head. And then slowly come back down with the legs as straight as you can get them. And releasing. Coming back up again, bending the knees. Drop the tailbone and lift. Trying to lift again out of the ribs. Flexing the feet if you can. If you're really flexible, you might be able to take the feet a little bit further and touch the floor overhead. If you can't, not the end of the world, but try and stay lifted here so we're not collapsing into the ribs. And very slowly roll yourself down, pushing the wall away, trying to keep the head and the shoulders on the floor. And again, go. Pushing through. This is called the rollover for obvious reasons. Lift that tailbone up towards the ceiling. So you're hinging here from the hips and rolling down. And again, just take a deep breath in and breathe out. It's quite difficult to talk and do that at the same time. And then slowly rolling down through the spine. And one more. Take your breath in and exhale. Pushing that wall away. As you can see, my little hamstring is a little bit tight. Trying to get my legs straight. It's really hard. This is such hard work. Pushing that wall away. Staying lifted in the spine. And rolling back down. Hold underneath the knees. Slowly roll yourself up. Sort yourself out. Come towards the front of the mat. Take out the hands in front of you. And we're going to roll like a ball without any hands. Hands can be here on the shins. That's fine if you want to. Not a problem, but we're going to try and see if we can work without using the hands, because sometimes the legs move. So same distance between the heels and the sit bones, so your legs don't move. Same distance between the knees and the shoulders. This doesn't get any bigger or any smaller. Take a breath in and roll back onto your shoulders. Exhale as you come back up. And again, breathe in. And exhale, come back up. We're in 5. 2 more. Last one. Hold the balance when you get up there. Take the hands up towards the ceiling if you can. Imagine you've got a band. Pull the band behind the head. Take it back up and back down in front of you. And again, lift and take it behind the head. Bring it back up and in front of you. And one more. Release the feet. Let the hands rest down in front of you. Slowly come back up. Lift the arms. Open them out wide, bring them back around and roll yourself down. All the way, if you can, to the floor. Take the hands behind the head. Lift the hands up, breathe in, lift the head. Watch to make sure that your ribs are soft and the abdominals are in. Exhale, peel yourself off the mat. And when you get up there, I'll come back a little bit so you can see me. Breathe in, lift the arms, open them out to the side, bring them around, and exhale, come back down. And try and lengthen the legs away from you so you get the length in your spine as you roll down. Relaxing the arms on the floor. Take a breath in as you lift the arms, floating the head off the floor, and exhale, roll yourself up. If you find this really tricky, you can just lightly hold on to the knees. Reach long towards your feet. Lifting up, breathing in and open up the arms. And again, rolling down. Dropping the shoulders, controlling it with your abdominals. Arms reach overhead. Last one. Breathing in, lift the arms, float the head. Exhale, up you come. Breathing in, lift and circle. We're nearly finished. We're going to finish off with a spine twist. I'll come and face you for this. So you can either sit cross-legged or take the legs out in front of you. Try and be on top of your sit bones. I'm going to use a towel to sit on because I tend to tuck under quite a bit. And so I want to make sure that I'm right on top of my sit bones. Legs are out in front, so again, cross-legged as I said. Take the arms out wide, breathe in and turn. And little pulses. And exhale, come back to centre, breathe in and turn. So pulse it for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, come back to centre, breathe in, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. If you find that quite hard on your shoulders, bring the hands to this position. Breathe in, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. Stay lifted in the chest so we're not slumping into the back. Breathe in, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. One more on each side. Breathe in, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. Last one. Breathing in, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. Come back to centre. Bring that leg in. Take it over the other leg. Take the arm around your body. Hug that knee in towards your opposite armpit. This hand goes behind you. Lift the chest. Really pull that knee towards you. You should feel a stretch on the outside of the glutes. Now if you wish, as you stay lifted with the chest, just start to turn and look behind you. Don't turn from your lower back, but turn from your ribs upwards. Keep the hip down on that side. And keep pulling that knee in towards you. And if you find it quite hard to bring the leg over, keep it on one side, on the same side. If you want to increase that stretch, the straight leg, you can bend and bring it in. Drop the hip on that side. Slowly release. Come back to centre. Change legs. Pull the knee in. Take it across if you can. If not, keep it on the same side. The opposite hand comes around. It hugs that knee in towards that armpit. Lifting the chest as you turn. Take the hand behind your back. Try and keep that hip down. The hip of the straight leg stays down as much as you can. So we're not turning from the lower back, but turning from the ribs upwards. Now if you want to increase the stretch, bend that knee of the straight leg. Bring the foot in towards your glutes. Drop the hip down towards the floor. So you're trying to ground your sit bones. And that increases the stretch on the outside of the glutes. Staying lifted and drop your shoulders. And breathe. And come back to centre. Place the soles of the feet together. And do an inner thigh stretch, holding onto the feet if you can, or the ankles, and try and bring them as close to you as possible. And then very slowly allow the elbows just to press into the knees, and let the knees just, or into the thighs, and drop the knees down towards the floor. Just slightly hinge forward from the hips to increase the stretch on the inner thighs. And press your legs back into your elbows and count for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop pressing. Try and increase the stretch. Drop the knees and hinge forward a little bit further. Come here from your chest. If you try and lean from your chest rather than leaning from here, you'll avoid collapsing into your spine. And then again, one more time. Press the knees into the elbows and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees a little bit further. Lift the chest. Lean forward a little bit more. Can you feel that stretch? Inner thighs, lovely. And then release, bring the knees together. Roll your shoulders. And then come back the other way. Take the hands behind the back, push away and lift the chest. Take the hands in front of you, push away, tuck under and drop the chin. And just have a gentle slump into the middle back, pushing away into between the shoulder blades. And then take hands up towards the ceiling, reach over, come back to centre and reach over to the other side, holding onto the wrist. Pushing up towards the ceiling, lifting the chest, going into a slight extension, stretching out the front of the body, reach far with your fingers. Hands to the floor and final lateral stretch. Reach over, bending both elbows, push the hip into the floor, so really increase that stretch. Reach forward on a diagonal with that arm, pushing the hip further into the floor. Coming back with your shoulder, release, change sides, reaching over, opposite hip pushes down, softening both elbows, and then reach forward on a diagonal. You might feel a really good stretch from the elbow all the way down to the hip. Bring that shoulder back. Lift the arm back up towards the ceiling. And you are done for the day. Well done. Very good. Lovely stretch to open up the hips and to open up the rib cage and stretch into the waist and the obliques. Hope you enjoyed that little routine. If you have time, you are more than welcome to repeat it. If not, it's not the end of the world. Remember, you're here just to do some quick movements over the Christmas holiday period. So enjoy, drink lots of water, You want to be drinking a litre for every 50 pounds you weigh. So aim to be really well hydrated between now and New Year, when we're going to be drinking lots of alcohol, probably eating in the New Year. So have a fantastic